Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be redrawing this photo, this image that I drew in 2018. This is the main character from a book that I wrote when I was 16. So firstly, I'm just going to get right into this. Firstly, I made some thumbnails of the way I wanted the drawing to look because I wanted to showcase more flowy poses because this drawing is quite stiff. So yeah, and I'm trying to figure out a way to incorporate the little pixie that she's with, as well as the way that her clothes would flow around her. And as you will see in a minute, I went with the third thumbnail. I just liked the flow of it and the way that the pixie was laid out. And then on a separate layer I added the hair and the clothes, and then I merged them so I could erase different sections separately. I actually think I've quite improved when it comes to drawing flowy fabrics. I think the original idea for this drawing was that I wanted her to wear like a regal-ish outfit, so I gave her like a bikini with like an mesh overclothes, like sheer overclothes. I don't know why, and I've realised here that I've made the nostril way too big, so I'm just repositioning that and resizing it. Yeah, just adding the line art. I haven't really scripted this video because I'm an idiot. I could have scripted it, but I've just been really busy today, so I'm just going on with it. Just getting on with it. I did try to add the pupils, but it just didn't look right, so I didn't. And then I'm just copying and pasting the first eye so that they're symmetrical in a way, and then I just sort of squished and warped the other eye and moved the pupil over a little bit because she looked a bit cross-eyed. I wanted her to have like fuller lips than what she had in the original. I also wanted her to have like more Mediterranean-esque skin, because a lot of my characters when I was younger were very pasty and pale, and they were white characters. There weren't very many ethnic characters, and I am trying to improve with that. I do have a couple of characters that are darker skinned, so I am trying to improve my diversity of characters. And considering that I'm doing a project at college about how Disney's development of female characters and inclusion of different ethnic minority groups in their films, I should really start applying that to my own work. So I wrote this book. I'm just going to go through a bit of background. I wrote this book in 2018, or 2017/2018. I think I started it when I was 15, which is most likely why it is about fairies and elves. Well, I call them elves. So the premise of the story is that Hannah, this character, is a elven princess, and she doesn't know it because she lives in the real world. She lives in New York. She lives in the human world. And then one day she's sitting under a willow tree when she's attacked by a shadow monster, and she puts her arms up to defend herself against it, and just a beam of light shoots out of her hands, which destroys it, and she's quite gobsmacked because she's never done magic before. Leans against the tree because she's shocked and she needs to like grab onto something, and a portal to another world opens up in the trunk of the tree. And because the leaves of the tree go right down to the ground, even though that's not how it works in real life, it's just how I thought it worked at the time, but I'm keeping that. It's hidden from the rest of the people in the park because she lives in New York. This is Central Park, and she goes through the portal and she finds that she's in another world, and there are people with wings tending to flowers, and she finds out that she's the princess of the realm, and then she has to fight somebody that has taken over the world, overthrown her parents, and they're locked up somewhere. She doesn't know where. Well, she didn't even know she had parents, so and yeah, she meets a few people along the way. There are elves, there are nymphs, there's shadows and everything. So for this image, like at the time, I wanted to sort of see what she would look like, or how I'd want her to look, because she was like my basically like an OC at the time, without being an OC, because I associate OCs with art, and I wasn't drawing her as such, I was writing her. But you write OCs as well, so I don't know where that mindset has come from. Tried to make her hair a bit flowier, and I did continue the lines underneath the skirt and the sleeves, because it is see-through and you have to be able to see what's going on underneath. Now I'm starting to draw the pixie in, and I'm so happy with the way that it turned out. I just really like the way she turned out. She's got like short hair, and she's holding a flower as like an umbrella, sheltering herself from the sun, and it's just I really like it. I definitely want to incorporate pixies into the story a bit more, because I might develop it as a webcomic or something. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with it, because I don't really want to do anything with it as a written story, because I'm not really into that anymore. Like, I'm not a writer anymore. I didn't really consider myself a writer then, because this was just a hobby. But I'm not really that interested in writing books. I love reading books, don't get me wrong. I'm a massive bookworm. I haven't been reading as much lately, because I've been very busy with college and applying to university and everything like that. And now I'm adding her dress in, and again, I'm really happy with this. It's meant to be like leaves, but I didn't add any of the veins. But I still like the way it turned out. I really like the leaf that I'm drawing in now. I really like the way it looks, because it kind of looks like it's coming forward a bit to me, and it's sort of wrapped around the stem of the flower. I really should have written a script for this, shouldn't I? Because I have no idea what to say. But we are coming to the colouring now. So here is that Mediterranean-y... here is this sort of more Mediterranean tan colour skin, because I didn't really want her to be pale and white anymore. And I think it really complements her hair and her eyes and everything. In the story, all the elves do have like gemstones, necklaces, but in this drawing I didn't draw that in, so I didn't do it for the redraw either. I've also realised that I didn't draw the little braid that's coming over her shoulder in there, but I think it looks better all for it. I decided that my light source was going to be the top left of the screen. I struggle a lot with light sources. You can probably tell that here. Like, I'm just not very good with it. I need to learn if I want to do something with this story as a visual thing. Well, just in general, because I am going into animation. I want to go into animation as a career path, not as an actual animator, just as a character designer, but still. And I'm just blending that out using Gaussian blur and just selecting the different areas so that they were separate. Now I'm adding like blush. It is quite bright at the moment, but it does go. I do set it to multiply, right there, and I'm adding her freckles in. I realised that if I used the Procreate pencil brush and I just used the side of my Apple Pencil, I could get like a freckly type look, and I'm very happy with that. I will definitely be using that more in the future, because I have a lot of characters that have freckles, because I myself have freckles. So yeah, and my channel mascot, once I actually draw it, which will be me, will have freckles because it's supposed to be like a self-portrait sprite sort of thing. Yeah, I'm running out of things to say. I'm adding highlights into her hair now. I just set another layer on top of the base layer and I set it to add, or I think it's linear dodge or something like that, but it's the add blend mode on here on my iPad. I tried adding like strands of hair, but I just didn't like it, and now I'm adding a shaded layer because for where her hair like curves inwards, I just wanted to give it a bit more depth. I'm not sure if I succeeded in that, but hey ho. Now I'm adding in her clothes and the shading. I did this all on one layer because I'm lazy, and this drawing just needed to be done because I needed to get it finished on time for me to edit and upload. So, and now I'm adding the shines and stuff on the gold cuffs. I really enjoyed doing that actually. Now I'm adding the sheer bits, and this is also on another layer, and I'm going to lower the opacity so that you can see what's underneath and the colours that are underneath it. Excuse me, and oh, sorry, I am very tired today. I've only just noticed that in the original drawing, she had like a golden trim on the top of her top, but I didn't add that. I would say I decided not to add it, but I just forgot. And I'm adding I can't wait to add her eye colour in. I really enjoyed doing her eye colour. I've decided, so I've developed my art style to draw, when I draw eyes, and when I colour eyes, I will add I'll put the base colour in, I'll add a darker colour at the top and I'll blend it. And then I'll get a really dark version of the colour of the iris and put it as the pupil, and I quite like the way that looks. And I add like eye shines, because without it then the character would look really creepy. Now I'm just adding the colour of the roses and the flowers. I wasn't sure what colour to make them because it's a bit all over the place in the original drawing, and I'm not very good with colour theory still, so I just used similar colours to what were in there, and I added a few less flowers. I actually quite like the way the roses turned out, because it is, I don't know, I just like the way that I detailed them. Now I'm adding the little spritey pixie thing with the wings. The elves in the story have wings, but I drew that one, the elf, not the elf, the sprite pixie with wings. I'm just adding in her dress colour. I made it just a darker version of her skin tone because it's made out of leaves, so it needs to be colours. There's a lot of greens that clash, like they overlap. I have to use different tones of green, so the stem is a bit more turquoisey. And adding the wings in, I do lower the opacity, and it looks really cool with the background. And now, speaking of the background, I'm adding it in now. I added a layer at the bottom, set to add, put a Gaussian blur on. Then I added a few clouds, and in the end I add a dark layer at the top, and I blend that out to give the sky more depth. And yeah, that is it really. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry if this was too rambly. I really enjoyed doing this, and I'll see you next week. Bye.